Welcome to episode number 3 of the TideCast, the official podcast of Tide League. I am going to be hosting along with Collision and Stitchy today. Double Bat is on leave. He's normally the host. He's on break. And so is half the staff tomorrow because of Thanksgiving. So yeah, that's going to be the first topic. But before we get into the topics, Tide League OC just started Season 2 last week, so it's gone pretty well.
Nice.
I think it's going to be a good one. Last season ended pretty well. And we already started off this season. Teabag lost their very first game. They got diffed 4-3 by Void. So yeah, Teabag won Season 1, and they actually got diffed. I'm only saying that because Vibes is in the VC, but I felt like I watched the game on YT and I was just like, how, dude, how? Like, how, man, that's just hilarious.
Yeah, for the new teams that are coming in, it's really nice because a lot of the things that I don't want to talk about too much about Shell League because it's a TideCast, but Shell League's new teams are mostly people just recreating their own teams and breaking off of the past teams. But the thing about Tide League I really like is that they're like new people are emerging from the Shell community. This could be from pubs itself or BWD community, and they come over and they can create their own team, and that's where I feel like the real process begins for getting new players into the league. And I think that's a good thing that Tide League's doing right now.
For sure, yeah.
You also don't have to sit here with a team just full of Aries members.
No,
For
not
sure,
like
yeah.
that. I'm just saying, in general, old players leave eventually, and we need new players. So it's really good that Tide League is actually, for what I'm seeing, getting more new players as opposed to players leaving, which is really good.
Well, what I'm saying is, compared to every other league, Shell League, basically, Tide League doesn't have team just filled with passive players that just sit there and grind the game 24/7. It actually makes it so that every team actually has an opportunity to actually win. Unlike SL, we already know the teams that are probably going to win. But when it comes for Tide League, it's really anyone's game.
Yeah, I mean,
Take home the win.
EXL almost lost against EG4L. I think that's pretty darn close to saying questioning who's gonna win. NL came back last week, so they're definitely in the race to win. But I would say for the most part, all these teams, they can definitely make a run. E2G going to the finals last season was just incredible. I mean, that was shocking to everybody. I mean, they almost beat EXL.
They beat BLZ 4-0 too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was something at 4-2 or 4-1 or something.
I mean, that was just insane. That was just
really
crazy that they...
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
People don't play enough games, and I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll let you go continue, but I feel really strongly about this point because a lot of underdogs don't get as much time to play in the higher leagues, and I think Tide League sort of gives the platform for all kinds of teams to step up.
You know what we should do, Will?
What's it called? Gives them a chance to show what they're capable of, and I think teams like E2G, for instance, while they aren't really favorable in many games they play, they do have games where they stand out at times and play really well, and that's the kind of stuff that you want to see more often in Shell League, which has disappeared in the past.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, E2G, even this season, they've lost 2 in a row, I think, but, for the most part, I think E2G can make another run, and, they're in a really tough position, because, their division is really stacked, so, they got BLZ, they have a lot of other teams in their conference, but I think they can definitely make a run again. If they don't get sniped by BLZ in the first round. But it's already confirmed BLZ and E2G are going to play again in the division finals in 3 weeks, I think. Depending on if games happen, I don't think that games are going to happen this week. But I think that decision will be made any hour, I think. Within the next few hours, I think it'll be made. But in regards to just teams, I mean, there's just so many great teams, and there's just so much great competition. And I think that going into season 5, we're gonna have even more competition with some of the pre-league teams coming up. I believe EG4L is disbanding, So that will be
Really?
unfortunate to see them go. But
And they were supposed to leave like over a month ago, but
oh
they're
yeah,
still here.
they were supposed to dip a long time ago. But I think they're gonna finally call it quits and pull the plug because they're definitely a very good team. But I think it's time for them to go.
I, I think that's what I was saying before. When you look at EG4L, their roster, every league they're in is composed of players that are on different teams in Shell League. That's one of the issues with a lot of Shell Shocker leagues is that people just take teams from other players' teams, and at the end it's all about loyalty, and whichever team does really better, and then they shift to that team. So I think it's good that Tide League has teams like even lower teams like EXE, God, and Bbuck. Not Bbuck, sorry, I meant SHE. These new teams that give what's it called an extra option to rosters that are trying to recruit more players. Because it's always recruiting from people from the teams that are known. That's what's the issue currently is in SL, for instance, and Tide League is doing a really good job of spreading players out on different rosters. Like they're standout teams that are rising up right now, like EG4, like you said, E2G. I'm just looking at the standings, and EXP also. There are a lot of teams that are doing really well, but they have original players, and that's something that I really appreciate in these kind of leagues. Yeah, to go on to Whale's point earlier, I think you were talking about what's it called? About how games weren't going to be this week. About that. So, I think the staff, half the staff, like you said, isn't going to be here over Thanksgiving break. So, I think it's all right to take a break this week because seeing as there's a lot of work being done in this league. If it's a league that's really inactive, that's kind of inactive, I would probably not stall because it would just cause it to be more AFK.
For
But
sure. Yeah.
Tide League's really running really well. I'm seeing much less. The good thing is we're seeing less forfeits from previous seasons, and we're playing with more teams, if not just as much teams as
And
previous
cleaner
seasons.
teams as well. I think
Yeah,
this is probably goes up as like the second cleanest season. Like last season was pretty clean, but there was definitely a few major alts, um, and a few just completely weird teams like DX came out of nowhere as the favorite as the season winners, and then we disbanded them. Um, but in season one, there was almost little to no alts, which was crazy, and that's obvious because there wasn't really many people. I mean, until season two, we only had about 200 people in the league, and then season two and season into season three, like the first few weeks, that's when the league just started to shoot up. Wiz joined for season two, and that was great. Season three handed out codes, and this season we have some of the best codes that you can find in any other league,
yeah.
except Shell League, of course.
Nah, not yet. Not yet. We're almost there.
Well,
God,
oh
we're close.
yeah, I
Really
forgot.
close.
There's always that one league. I know.
No, we're gonna get there, and then we're probably gonna surpass them at some point. Because I don't see the same amount of growth from Shell League. Shell League reputation is really huge. But people that joined the league, not many people joined the league. It's mostly people that from the past that retire, quote unquote retire, and it's people that very few people that joined the league. It's really quite rare for people to any person to want to join Shell League that's new to Shell Shockers, which is what's good about Tide League, because again it develops that sense of loyalty to one league, and then the new players when they migrate to Tide League, uh, uh, it's gonna turn into it's gonna turn Tide League into shift more of the favor to Tide League and the popularity to Tide League.
For
And
sure, yeah.
I can definitely see that happening in the future. I don't want to jinx it, but I can definitely see that happening. And the legal activity that used to go on a Tide League, it's really nice to see that there are less alts in Tide League right now. I don't want to jinx that again, but whatever. It seems really nice so far. I'm looking at the people online right now, and they all seem pretty. They all seem like their main accounts, and then it seems really solid. I like that, and it's something that's really hard to maintain in a league, obviously.
For sure,
And
yeah.
you can't. It's um what can you you can't really say um control everybody that's going around in the league, right? Because this isn't like an official esports tournament. Um, this is like you can't. This is someone who's playing online in a virtual platform, and you can't really check them any legit way without illegally illegally trespassing their privacy.
For
So
sure, yeah.
that's kind of the hard things about. That's kind of the hard things about it, you know. So
But like just getting
Oh, I
into
saw you
that,
delete
like
that message.
yeah, I saw that too. But I mean,
Oh
just
yeah.
getting into like just the general aspect of like things going wrong. So like alting and hacking. The next topic was hacking and how can the league do a better job at preventing it. Um, hacking has just become such a huge issue in the game, and there is an anti-cheat in development, but that's not going to be out for a really long time. There's only a baseline behind it, and I know who's working on it. I know that it's definitely going to happen, but there are so many holes through that, and it could create a much bigger issue. And it could prevent players. We can't force people to download something and say like you have to play with this or like you have to play with this browser, because we have players that are playing on Chromebooks. That's just not going to happen. And if our goal is to increase the player base, if we're trying to increase the player base but also decrease the amount of hacking, I think we need to continue what we've got. Maybe
To make everyone screen share while they do their games.
I think if there are people that are considered like suspicious or suspect, I think that we should do that in-depth verification because like just what happened in Shell League, I won't say who it was, but there was a player who was suspected of hacking and there was a clip to prove it, and we just verified them the old-fashioned way, or not really the old-fashioned way, but like the more in-depth way, and we caught them with a script in their console. That's not something that we would find in a normal verification because we don't check console. We check extensions, and that stuff can be hidden. So it just goes to show that there's so many more ways to find hacks, and I think that one thing that we can start to do is just keep track of these players that are considered suspicious, and try and track them down, and if we can get them to screen share, even in shell ranked, like we catch hackers that way in shell ranked as well. Like we'll hop on alts, nobody will expect us to be there, and if we know that someone's active right there, we'll say, okay, let's hop on our alt, let's try and catch this guy, and we'll get him the screen share mid game. They will have no idea, and we'll catch him. That's when we can do it. But like just getting this anti cheat and making sure that we keep a much better, I guess, sort of like track of
They tried that same thing in ranked,
people.
but then they were like denying. They're like, I can't screen share. My computer won't allow me to.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. But like that just shows like, you know, come on, like that's almost a 50% excuse right there. But I think hacking is just as much as we can try to prevent it. There's always going to be some sort of like loophole. People like I can't even say names. I'm not allowed to. But like people like yeah are still going to create hacks and
Oh my
scripts.
god, yeah. Watch out,
Yeah.
He's coming for you, bro.
dot are going to try and prevent the or try to hack even more if we try to make the system even harder to breach. But I think we're doing a good job right now, and we're gonna continue the way that we're doing it. If anybody has any issues with that, well, then that sucks because there's not much we can do until that anti-cheat is out. Until there are less hackers in the game itself, there's not much we can do. But we're gonna continue to trust the players and trust that they're not hacking. It's pretty hard to get away with it. But if you're a really known hacker,
anti-cheat was out right now?
hmm?
Did you say the anti-cheat was out right now?
No, it's in the works. But I can confirm that there is an anti-cheat being made. But I don't think it's going to be out for a really long time. Because there's just a baseline of it. It's very, very vague, and there's a lot that needs to be made into it.
True. One thing, before we go on to Team Admin, because I think that in itself is also a huge topic, but the hacking thing that you brought up about going undercover is a really good idea. I haven't actually thought about it in that sense, where the staff of a league.
Oh yeah, we do that.
can bring in.
We've done
Well,
that. Tide staff, we've done that.
Yeah, we don't want to like talk too much about it, obviously, because it's our latest secret tactic.
Yeah.
But doing that, sort of finding the right people to select, and using that is really powerful. Because right now, the reason why we have issues with ults, and I can speak from experience myself, as Pringles stated, is that it's the whole idea of ulting is it's outwitting people, right? And if you outwit a person, you can take advantage of any given situation that might occur during the game. That's what's the point of ulting is. Either you get recognition for it, or you take advantage of something to help you win in some sort of way on your main account.
For sure,
So,
yeah.
if you want to take advantage of someone doing that, you got to think of what's available to you. And right now, like you said, there isn't really anti cheats. There aren't really many ways to identify if someone's an ult outside of the alt identifier, which really most of the time is bypassed because it's been overused. And that's what I'm saying.
Speaking from experience.
Actually, I got banned by an alt identifier twice, but we're not gonna talk about that. But but that's what I'm saying. Like over time, I'm telling you, over time, I found a way to bypass it, even though it took me a slow time. Everyone will find a way to bypass it, and that's why I'm saying you have to be like your the way you defend. Your defense mechanisms have to evolve as well, not just the way you think, but what the tools that are given to you. Bro,
For sure,
I'm just speaking like you can't stay on the same exact thing. Like ult identifier is not gonna
Okay,
in the future.
everyone, dude, what is this guy's pro? This guy named Pro274.
Huh?
What is his profile picture?
We're gonna
that profile picture.
You
Left. You left.
What is your profile picture?
It's actually
obvious.
Mew. It's Mew, the best Pokemon. Anyways, we're gonna talk about the next one, which is Game Admin. Who wants to start off?
Oh, I can start.
Yeah.
All right, so this is arguably one of the biggest positions that we've ever had. So if you've been keeping up to date in our announcements, you'll notice that we just released applications for this position. We've already gotten a lot of applications, and they do close tonight in about a few hours. And then we'll start to do some interviews with some people. And just try and.
double.
Oh yeah, double's here. Let's go. We're on the topic of game admin, but basically.
Applications.
So yes, we did release applications. They are closing tonight, and we will start to review the applications more in depth and get a better sense of
I'm currently
who's been applying and
Santa Barbara right now, so I can't really do much.
Yeah, that's all good. We're carrying.
Alright, thank you.
But basically, game admin, I think it's going to be a huge position, because as you guys know, there is a decent amount of the administration that cannot make games on Saturdays.
Including myself.
Yep, me, Andy, Blank, Heartbeat, all of us, we cannot make games.
On Saturday, so couldn't be me.
We can't change the days. It's a must.
Yeah.
But basically, this position is going to act as a stand-in admin. So they won't have admin perms until we can really feel like we trust you. But in that case, we probably just promote you to league admin. But we're gonna start it off with very few perms, and then we'll just move to higher perms, and
There will only be one game.
I think that most of the
Right,
applications,
with the game
from what
manager
I've read,
position,
is really good.
Yeah, essentially what we're looking for in a game manager is someone incredibly active who's kind of in touch with the player base more often than not.
Yeah.
We just need someone who can effectively communicate with many players, attend as many games as possible, and make sure that reffing is going all right. So if you have experience in other leagues and are able to verify, ref, do things like that at a high and effective level, then we'd really appreciate if you could become game manager, because that's essentially what we're looking for. We're looking for, I guess you could call it a more important ref or verifier is the best way I could put it. So if you have as much experience as you can put that on the application, you can get any staff member in Tide League or anyone who has any sort of league experience to what's the word? To recommend you for the position. Like I've had a couple people come to me for recommendations, and I gave Whale my recommendation.
Oh yeah, someone came to me for a recommendation. So if you were that person, you had some balls to ask the person that reads the applications to recommend you.
Somebody in the audience right now has DM'd me in the past 6 hours asking to give me gain admin secretly. And I was like,
Oh,
the
man.
fuck? This person is in the audience right now, and you know who you are.
Wait,
It must be. Hold on, wait.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny.
There's
I'm
a
guessing
lot
it's-
of like,
Hoodie. I'll guess
there's
hoodie.
a lot of applications
No, it's not holding.
for the
It's
game
not holding.
admin.
I know for a fact it's not holding.
Yeah, I know for a fact
My
that
guess
isn't either.
is Lens or Serpent. Just
You're
'cause I know
not
both
gonna
of those
be
people
able to.
are.
I don't think you're gonna get this person.
Is
But
it?
anyways,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like
Wait,
applications for the game
Tricks.
admin. And a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of people are gonna get turned down no because there's only one game admin.
Right.
for sure. Yeah.
So I don't care how much you
Right.
wanted the position or how
Well,
much nitro
actually-
you can offer me. The answer is no.
Honestly, bro, if you offer me Nitro, I might slide you a better roll though. That's no cap.
I might stop you.
Wait, FBI got game admin.
Well, just take the roll away.
Well,
Guys, DM
I
me.
can give you
DM
moderator for 1
DM me
minute.
Nitro. Give me Nitro,
wait,
and I'll
wait.
give you a stat position. On
no,
God.
it's all good. FBI can give himself a lot of rolls if you didn't know.
Oh.
Yeah,
But
FBI is like
he can give himself game admin if he wants to.
Wait, what? Oh my god.
Yeah,
what
because
role-
he's one under admin.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Mhm.
Yes.
He's got the equivalent of the star roll in Shell League. But basically, so I was thinking of having 3 trial game
Tricks,
admins
it
at
was
first.
You shitter.
But
You
the reason
slide
I
reason
knew it was.
I was reading the applications
You
today.
sly bastard.
We had 5 amazing, like, they were incredibly well written applications, and I could not choose one of them. So I feel like we could narrow down
Should
to
hand them
just
off to me,
3 of them.
Will, yeah.
Like, I'll get like a battle royale, you know? I'll see like which application.
Dude, like, I don't wanna single anybody out, but Trix literally had Winter make a video explaining to me why he was the best pick. Like, that's dedication. I mean, that's crazy.
Wait,
Will,
show me.
check DMs, Will,
Tell
check
me.
so
DM me.
desperate.
DM me. DM me the people who like had good.
He wants to talk. He raised his hand. He has something to say.
No, Trix is not
I'm
speaking.
gonna accept him. Fuck
Oh my god.
Invite to speak.
I feel like he's gonna start
No,
raging.
speak. Just speak.
Trix
Speak,
possibly
Trix.
the new
Wait,
game
Will, can
admin,
you
we'll
check
see.
DMs? By the way.
Trix, I invited you to speak.
Question is, will he accept?
Wait, Will,
Oh,
can you check
no,
DMs?
Tricks.
Wait,
Mhm.
when you get DMs. Whenever you get
Yeah, Trix.
What's up, Tricks? Yo.
Alright.
What's up, my
Winter
guy?
was lazy to type it, and he told me that he was gonna record a voice and send it to Well. That's why he did it.
Oh my
And I heard it, I was like, oh, that's actually really good.
That's a
Honestly,
GG's in my
Put
book.
a lot of effort into just trying to get one roll.
I mean, I put probably more effort for.
Yo, Trix, if you sign me Nitro and some of those hacks, I will totally give you fucking
Okay.
game
Ayo,
manager.
ayo.
You send me your scripts, all of your scripts. I will give you game admin immediately.
Let's keep our composure.
Yeah, we're exposing. But anyways, yeah.
Oh shit, we're not biased staff.
Applications close tonight
Only one is
at
biased.
11
Wait,
p.m.
wait. Can you send me the applications who like you actually like, and I'll decide, or I'll help you decide.
Yeah, I'll send you them
Okay,
after.
thank you.
But yeah, we will announce the new ones probably sometime next week after we conduct some interviews over probably Sunday and Monday. We're not going to do anything tomorrow for
Yeah,
obvious
because I'll
reasons.
be in a car going to the Sequoia National Forest. So.
Yeah, and I'll be eating turkey.
Santa Barbara is really beautiful, by the way. I don't know if I
I've been there, yeah.
appreciated that. It's really fucking nice.
I'm gonna be
But
taking
anyways,
shit.
game admin, big position. Oh, yeah, there are codes involved. If you didn't know, I think that's probably
Oh,
why.
yeah, that's why
Over
I'm thinking
40 people applied.
Jeez.
To game admin?
Yeah.
Nobody get
Wait,
mad if you don't get game admin.
WhaleShark, does that mean I get codes since I'm game admin minus the game? I'm just
I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
start giving
same.
out codes.
What if I just
Depends.
give myself the game admin role?
I can discuss
Yeah, I'm
with
gonna
the
do that,
great
bro,
wizard support.
honestly.
What if I just give myself the game admin role? Do I get a New Yorker?
Oh, it's not a New Yorker.
Thanks, Wes. Thanks, Double. Thanks, Double.
Expect
Yeah.
anything
Make
from
sure
a
you
skull
slide it to me,
bandana
like, right
or red
when you make it.
goggles to a buck or an albino, depending on how much I get. Right now it's
Alright,
4.
yeah, give me game admin role like right when you make it so I can get those.
Oh, it's
nice,
made.
sexy
It's been
awards,
made for like the
bro.
past few months, and we just never
Well, then
had anything to do
Give
with
it to me.
This has been in the works for a while, but we've never expected that we'd actually need one, and now we need one. So
Nah, you definitely need one. I think Shelly needs one more than us. That's the funny thing. But anyways,
Yes. I know.
yeah,
I was like, cause look, they don't even have like at one point. Like I said, I don't want to touch on Shelly too much because this is a Tidecast. But me and Double, for the past 3 weeks, I've basically been doing all. I don't want to give myself too much credit, but Double mostly has been doing most of the reffing, and then it's only, and he's also. He's also a manager, and the fact that managers are doing this is kind of like concerning. So like the mod, like the people with the ref roles aren't really doing anything, and we can find the same thing going on to a certain extent here in Tide. So it's really good that there's like a game admin to get people set straight up, because it's not really hard to spend like 30, like I said to Whale before in DMs, 30 minutes of your entire week dedicated to simply just like verifying someone. That's all it is. 30 minutes of your week. That's all it takes. And that's 30 minutes goes into every single team in the Tide League, as long as people don't waste your time, which is
And
where
you'll
the
become
forfeit
known.
timer comes in. So you have no
So I'm here
excuse.
for Saturdays.
Tide League
that's
has
what
Tide League has
Take over
made
on
me
Saturday.
famous.
Game admin, in my opinion, is so essential, because it's right now it's normally streamers or whoever's online, whichever managers online takes care of the games. And I think having game admin specifically for that reason is really important. And I think game admin should also have actually what's it called? There should be like a co-game admin even. I'm thinking of right now, because it's a really difficult role to do. And I say that because people like WhaleShark is the owner of the league. He should not be involved with like matchmaking. Like that's what the community, that's what the higher ups are trying to do. And
At the same time, you don't want a Chris Kyle situation where he just goes off to college and drinks all night instead of doing.
Hey, I mean, I don't do that yet.
Okay.
I'm not wrong.
I still
You
make the
know, I went to the
graphics. I
University
still
of
make the
Alabama.
YouTube
Keep
videos.
your staff position inside league.
Yeah.
Hey, I can make fun of Chris Kyle.
Look, Double isn't wrong. That's the whole point.
He's not wrong, but then again, I feel like Chris Kyle's ghost is watching us right now.
Yeah, bro, he's watching over us at RFP too.
As a matter of fact, I think it's Shaq.
Chris Kyle's ghost wishes he was lost, bro. He's so blackout drunk right now.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Chris Kyle seems like the kind of guy
Alright,
to already
question.
fail
Has
in November.
anyone else got banned on Call of Duty Mobile, or is it just me?
So
Probably just use Stitchy.
Again,
guys, come on.
Game, dude, I'm gonna cry.
Alright.
Yeah, Stitchy, you just have to stop sending
Bro, I can't.
furry porn to me.
I can't.
Whoa,
But it
chill.
wasn't this time, dude. I tried to do
What?
it myself.
Yeah, let's go.
did you
Chat.
fail in November?
No.
Alright,
Have you
so
seen my status?
sum it up. Game admin applications tonight. They close. We'll pick them in the future, coming week.
And remember, kids, don't do drugs.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Chris Kyle.
2v2s, talking about
It's not
2v2s.
drugs.
2v2s have become such a reality.
Double and I were talking.
And your pants dry.
Double and I were talking about this last time a lot. Last week we were talking about how 2v2
Hey, wait,
should be banned.
can I
Which is
talk
why-
about this a little
Yeah,
bit?
that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 2v2s. Where do I begin? For those of you who
Ask.
continually DM'd me asking about why a certain team was forfeited because of a 2v2 and that they could 2v2, or to team leaders who have gotten forfeited even though they technically had 2 online that could 2v2, I have many things that I would like to say to you. The least of which being fuck you and fuck your family. Honestly.
Oh,
Shit.
Okay.
Cast
Look,
everybody.
I am a very busy. I am a very busy man. Okay, I have a lot of things that I have been doing recently.
Very
Okay,
busy man.
I literally had finals
very.
2 weeks ago. I have literally the toughest schedule out of all of my friend groups. I have no fucking fun classes. No, literally, I just have science, math, Spanish. I believe.
Alright,
When was
goodbye.
class ever supposed to be fun, dude?
Wait, did you leave?
I'm
No, I
pretty sure
moved
got
into the
kicked.
audience.
Sorry, I don't have any fun classes.
Still
Continue,
going.
continue.
So, hey, my point is this: we're moving away from 2v2s for a couple of reasons. Not the least of which being it's boring to watch. If I am a Twitch viewer, right, and I want to watch a Twitch stream, I don't want to see 4 crack shots
Yeah.
2v2ing, especially
That's
4
true, yeah.
mediocre crack shots 2v2ing. Which, in most cases, let's be honest, the big teams aren't going to 2v2 because they have mostly players online. So it's mostly going to be the smaller teams with, dare I say, mediocre players 2v2ing, which is nothing you want to watch.
That's what I
okay?
said, bro.
And that's not even the half of it, because from a content standpoint, you're not only missing out on the Twitch stream, you're missing out on the replay factor, meaning that you can't get YouTube views in the first place, and you can't get trickle down views from people wanting to rewatch the game because it's so fucking boring that no one cares about it.
For sure, yeah.
So there's that. There's also the fact that 2v2s are just annoying to ref in general, because verifying 4 people just for a 2v2 that refs don't want to stay in, honestly, I'd literally rather watch paint dry or like take a knife and like scratch all my skin out than fucking
Dude,
watch
ever
all
since
of
you
it.
started
Okay,
talking,
dude,
we went
I
from
swear
15
to
audience
God.
members to 9.
I think that's a skill issue, greatness. I think that's a skill issue.
What?
Since you started talking.
Let me continue.
Okay.
Essentially, what I have to say is, to those of you who complain about there being no 2v2s, stay mad, continue malding, it's funny. To those of you who were totally fine with the change, I love you, and that's why I'm that's why I'm an admin here at Tide League, for the people who are actually decent human beings and couldn't care less about an egg shooter. Side note about the whole 2v2 conundrum.
You have an egg shooter team, dude. Come on.
A side note about the 2v2 conundrum, I'd like to call it. I've heard many arguments about why we should keep 2v2s around. The most common that I've seen, like, defending the 2v2s is that, we have to prevent forfeits, that's what keeps the league alive. But my counter argument to that is, if a team is continually 2v2ing a week after week, or if a team has to 2v2 at all, it isn't great for the league, because they're not the most active team then, right? So if we see a team continually 2v2ing, which we saw last season, it just shows that they're not active and they're carried by like 1 or 2 people, which isn't good for the league. It doesn't help us.
And I think that goes right into the next topic of Season 5 and having sub-teams.
Yeah, it shows your team is trash, not the
And,
league.
like,
Okay.
there are so many, like, different aspects that we could change, but I think the one most apparent aspect is just finding that decent batch of 16 active teams. And I think, the possible reconstruction of pre-league could, I mean, Tide Pre-League has been going great. Like, there's the least amount of forfeits that we've seen out of any Tide League season. We use what is called a forfeit ratio, where for every single Tide League variant, we will use a different ratio for each league, depending on the season, and we will use that to count up statistics for how many forfeits compared to how many games played. And we also do the same for 4v4s, 3v3s, and 2v2s, getting a ratio of how many 2v2s we had compared to 3v3s compared to 4v4s, just so we can get a sense of how active the league is on a seasonal basis. But, like, I think next season, Season 4, I said that, going into Season 4, I said that there's going to be a lot of changes. And I think in Season 5, those changes definitely worked, but in Season 5 there should be a lot more just finer touches on those changes, and I think one of those is just finding that decent batch of 16 active teams. I think we're really close to that, and I think most of the teams are pretty active, but I think for Season 5, I think we should introduce sub-teams. So, like, sub-teams basically are teams that had really good applications and they are technically an active team, but they aren't ready to join yet. And I think that we should really start to keep a better accountability for these teams, because sometimes teams will just forfeit knowing that they're going to be let in next week. But I think now we should start really just suspending or giving them a lot of suspense, because if we have a sub team, if we say that there's a
Essentially,
team to
what
replace them,
WhaleShark is saying. What WhaleShark is. I'll put it succinctly since we're probably running over schedule already.
no, it's fine.
Essentially, what WhaleShark is saying in layman's terms is forfeit bad, 16 team very hard find. We have many good team, but we have bad team too. And bad team do bad things, so we need more team to not do bad thing.
That is pretty much true.
Nice, dude. But I'm a grammar freak, so never say that ever again. All right, dude.
I'm literally gonna.
Yeah,
That's what he
Oh,
fucking
no.
gets.
But yeah, I mean, I think that we need to start just like, because think about it, if we have sub teams, like, we'll increase the amount of
Bro, let me eat my
accountability for these teams. So like, say a team were to forfeit, you know, if we were to threaten them and say, oh, we do have a team to replace you, like, if we then replace them, like, they're gonna be mad.
Yeah, blackmail.
You know, if we can threaten them and say like, okay, if you guys forfeit another week, like, we're going to replace you, that'll give them you know, that extra bit of juice to, you know, find active players and get them ready for the next week, so that we can both increase the amount of active teams and we can get more games done. So it's a win-win all around. We're getting active teams, you know, we're getting, you know, a lot more other people.
Your mom last night.
But yeah, I think, you know, reconstructing pre-league, you know, I don't think a lot of people will like it, but, you know, think about it. I think it'll help everything. You know, Tide League is definitely
like,
not
if
an
your
easy
team
win
is
for
bad
any team,
and you
but
want to get into a league, then you should do Tide Pre-League, because you can get like good players, like decent quality players, to like join up with your roster, you know, build up chemistry and all that. And then once your team gets better, you can eventually join, you know, Tide League NA, Tide League OC, whatever have you. But well and truly, the best we can offer you in terms of like development for your team is Tide Pre-League, because Shelly got rid of Div B and special events. So Div B and Pre-League, which is now the special event server. So essentially, there is no league that has a Pre-League anymore. That's at least like that's, you know, sustainable, other than Tide Pre-League. So think about it this way: if your team has any inclination whatsoever to get better and wants to grow through leagues rather than invite only, then we'd highly suggest joining Tide Pre-League before NA, because it gives you an opportunity to, if your team is good, destroy some people, get codes and gain confidence before you get into Tide League NA. Or if your team wants to build themselves up slowly, they could recruit players through Tide Pre-League, get themselves a name, and eventually build themselves up to be on the level of Tide League NA. And maybe in the future, even other leagues. Tide League's branching out. Crazy. Anyways, I should settle most of that.
Yeah.
For now.
Also, you guys were on talking about season 5 about less teams. I was also said in the beginning that like Tide League is increasing in the number of teams that are joining, not only in NA, which is nice to see, but not only in NA, they're also joining in OCE and EU.
Yeah, that's more than Shelly can say right now. Have you seen Shelly?
Yeah.
Bro, that shit's dead as.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah,
but to be fair, Tide Europe is also pretty dead. We haven't started season 2 yet.
Europe is a dead region, no cap. The only thing they're good at is fucking Counter-Strike at this
point.
point.
I tried to understand what the issue was with Double. So I talked to Bass about the EU admin, and also Shelly admin. But
I love Bass. You have no idea how many times
I actually do as well too. But actually, it turns out that the issue with EU players is not their. It's just the language barrier. Because when you look at the geographic map, Double and Whale wouldn't know this, but for you guys, it's like basically there's Spain, Italy, and Germany, and there's like a lot of really major countries, right, that are around Europe. And all these different diverse languages make it really, really difficult for people to communicate with each other. And we even know how hard that is with even the Spanish-speaking players in Tide League and Shell League. You know how difficult it is to be able to just like verify and tell them to get the sides and stuff. So there's definitely like a big language barrier there, and English would be the language we'd use, and not many
Yeah.
people would play. That's the main issue I think right now is the language barrier. If perhaps we had translators, that's something you would be looking into. That's something really major. But I feel
Essentially,
like that's
the big
too
thing
much
with
of a futuristic idea.
right,
What we
the
say?
thing with Shelly, the thing with Europe in general is that it's this huge conglomerate mess of a bunch of different states that were once owned by larger countries, but then split off their dialects into multiple different like languages per se. So there's French used to be different and it merged with like Celtic in order to become modern French. And there's a bunch of other bullshit that happened in Europe. But what I'm saying is every person within like a 10-mile radius speaks a different language because Europe is just so compact and there are so many countries in such a small amount of like area. So it's incredibly hard to keep up with all of the different languages because if you're from Romania and you're from France, you're going to be speaking two totally different languages, and we can't exactly keep up with both of those and accurately translate it, right? And you have to consider the the change. Fuck. The changing climates in each of the countries as well.
COVID-19.
Oh God, I wish I had what. But yeah, essentially, there's a lot of things in Europe, but all I'm gonna say is that Europe is messed up in like a lot of different ways, and there's not really much Shelly can do to expand there, at least or keep it alive for now. Like Oceania's a lot easier to work with because those Aussies are, if anything, I'll give them. They're fucking shit. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Okay. But yeah, that's what happened.
But yeah, I think that's definitely a really good point. Like, there's definitely such a massive language barrier
Oh God.
when it comes to.
And not just a language barrier. People from Europe are kind of stupid. What?
I mean, it's just generally like with Australia.
Stupid, but
Australia, the main language is English. In
Yokers-
OC, that's
Yokers says, wait, Yokers League is still alive? Oh my God, wait. Yokers League was around back when I was the TL of ADR. We won that league.
no, it's dead right now, but we might buy it.
That's still a thing though. They didn't just like delete the server.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure actually.
There's no way. I remember that Danzig used to be one of the owners. Yokers League.
But
I'm
yeah.
not in the server anymore.
There are a few questions, so I think we should get to them.
Oh yeah.
I think most of them are pretty similar, but there's one that stood out to me.
How about we open the floor to the audience? Audience members, if you have any questions for us, please type them out in #general.
Yeah.
They also have them inside the form that we submitted
Mhm.
earlier.
But yeah, while you guys are
stupid
doing
and
that,
wrong, and I hate it.
while you guys are doing that,
The form is going to be behind time because we could have answered some of their questions during the thing. It's less efficient. So
Yeah.
the people who are actually listening should be the ones to ask us questions.
yeah.
DLC Lemon, you will never get manager, and I will ban you from the server shortly.
No. But someone asked when team applications will be open up. So those can be found in the channel apply your team. And those are open 24/7. You can find those right in that channel. It shouldn't be too hard. It's a straight Google form. Just fill it out. And basically we'll get back to you over the off season, asking if you guys would still like to join. There's an option if you'd like to join for this season. So basically, if you're filling it out now, that means you want to join for season 5. If you want to fill out like in a future season, that means you want to fill it out or you want to enroll your team for season 6 and beyond that. But like, as I've said like numerous times, we are always looking for new teams because there are teams that are constantly just inactive, having to 2v2, sometimes even forfeiting. But for right now, all the teams are pretty active, except maybe EXE. But for the most part, they're all pretty active. And it's really late in the season to get a replacement because there's only one game left for each team. But I would say if you'd like to apply your team, just go right into that channel, fill out the form, and there you go. There's currently a bunch of applications in there for future seasons that I still have to review. But I'd say if you really feel like you have a team that's ready for Tide, go for it. I mean, we are not gonna stop you. We are always looking for active teams, so just go right into that. A few questions. Right, where is this one? Trix asks, game admin applicants will be reviewed by when? So we will finalize.
They will be reviewed over the weekend by myself and WhaleShark.
Yeah.
Next.
That's the best answer we can give. We'll choose them, and we'll do some individual applications or interviews.
Was that Blank who lost to CEO in Shell League? I think
Swift asks, how do the recommendations work
everyone
for game
give a
admin?
round of applause to Blank.
Jeez. But so recommendations pretty straightforward. Just DM somebody who you feel has known you for a long time and has some sort of experience in the field of reffing and managing something. Just to DM me and say, like, I think that this person is a good fit for game admin.
So I know it might be a little bit tough.
But yeah, that's all you have to do. Nothing super duper intense. But I've gotten some pretty nice recommendations. So.
Pretty intense, dude.
But yeah, those were some major questions. I think that's pretty much it. Obviously,
okay, I'm gonna actually open the floor now. Anyone that has any serious questions, type them out in hashtag.
Yeah.
I can't find the unban for Wex. I'll do that in a bit.
Oh yes, that's right. Wex has a lot of alts in the server that are banned, so I think we're gonna have to work through those.
There's this thing called Google, which you can use to Google search words. I know you're from undisclosed school, and you might be kind of I'm just kidding. Just search it up.
Whoa. Okay. All right.
But as you guys know, every TideCast I give like a leak to something that we're doing in the future. So for instance, like last week we were leaking what is going to happen in pre-league. So we gave you guys some information as to what is going to happen. As I've said, there is a reconstruction that is going to happen.
Question, Trix. How many applicants will be chosen to be interviewed?
I think 5.
Between 5 to 10 at most. That's a good number.
Around that. But yeah. I think today's leak. Okay, so like MVP stamp? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Tide League MVP stamps.
Staff stash.
Tide staff sash?
Yeah, I can't wait. Next month, right? Next month.
I'll tell you that Tide skins are coming. We have a Patreon? I didn't know we had that. But
make a Patreon, WhaleShark.
I will say that we do have a giveaways channel, and there are some pretty rare skins and shell shockers, like albinos, bucks. So I will say that check that channel a little often, because there may or may not be a very, very rare code given away within the next few weeks that I have access to at the very moment. So we are going to make a push for 1K members.
Just know that your mom. That's all I have to say.
Jeez. But anyways, I think that is going to be...
Alright, check giveaways. Look what the FBI just put.
Oh no.
Game admin giveaway. He's trying to get us nudes.
Sheesh. Well, yeah, I guess giveaway for game admin. That's actually funny as hell. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, guys, whoever gives me nitro just wins the giveaway immediately. The
For sure.
longest amount of nitro will win.
How many questions will the interview have?
The 2 years nitro will get game admin.
I would say 3 at most. We are still deciding on whether to do it in a VC or
3
not.
years of nitro for me, correct?
But I think they'll be just general in chat.
Yeah, just skip over that.
If you've ever made it to like pre-league or shell league mod interviews, they're pretty straightforward. You do them in a channel, in a little private server.
Yes,
I've done.
Kind of weird.
A private server.
I've done 2 of them. So.
In a private server.
I will make a private server in post hentai and interview
Whoa,
you.
whoa,
You
whoa.
have to watch that, and I will see if you fail No Nut November
okay.
during the interview. And if you fail, you are eliminated.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, send
Aggie,
me
this is
the
recorded,
server,
you know.
bro.
This is getting posted on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah, bro,
better.
YouTube didn't ban fucking Alinity for like rat poisoning her cat.
No one cares.
You just got moved.
Alright. I think that
Toxic.
might be
Yes,
it.
I am too powerful.
If you have any more questions, you can DM me. But other than that, I think we're gonna close it off for today. It's been fun. But yeah,
Goodbye.
tune in for the next TideCast, which will be.
Hey, can I do the outro? I'm so hot.
What's the outro? Do we have an outro?
Ahem.
No, let me do it.
This is
No, I
Double
trust Double
Battery
way
Rush
more than
with
you.
My co-casters Blank, WhaleShark, Mew, and Collision signing off.
Oh.
See you guys.